Exactly.
Ain't no half stepping Marcus. Yeah, all right, Dub. We gonna keep it moving, man. I know we only have you for just a little bit longer, and so we're gonna.
What's up, Miss Dub?
Yeah. What's up? What's up? Shout out to Miss Dub. First thing I want to get into, we're gonna kind of go into a little bit of black fist in the air kind of talk here in this particular segment. The police chief in Ferguson, Missouri, has come out and apologized to the family of Michael Brown because of how long Mike had been laying in the street deceased. And the family of Mike Brown is like, you can take your apology and kiss my ass with it. Those are my words, but that's essentially what it was. Here we are,
basically
August 8th or 9th, sometime single digits of August, is when Michael was murdered by the police officer Darren Wilson. And there's still no charge. And the police officer, I believe, in my opinion, is trying to pacify the town by apologizing. That's my personal opinion. I want your opinion. Then we're going to talk about Ohio, but we're going to talk about Ferguson first. What's your thoughts?
Well, just like you said earlier, in fact, I believe Michael Brown's mother was here in Atlanta over the weekend, and it was basically, you can keep your apology, you know what I'm saying, instead of making an apology, make an arrest or move forward with some type of prosecution of this guy. I think that he may have did that just to kind of calm things down, because whether we realize it or not, whether it's being broadcast on national news outlets or whatever like that, people in St. Louis are still demonstrating, protesting, and doing a number of things to, continue to put pressure on the police department to move forward with some type of arrest or, continue the investigation on Michael Brown's death. So even though it's not in the news, people are still, wanting answers. People are still wanting results. And I think that with that police chief making that apology or whatever, he could have made that apology a month ago. Yeah. I think it just fell on deaf ears, $1 late, $2 late, and 2 hours too short. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you know what? I'm going to tell you, it speaks to a bigger thing, is that individuals or people think that just by making an apology that it's going to go away. And I would hope that us as a community that is, against police shooting of unarmed individuals and even the people in Ferguson, that damn their apology, continue to put the pressure on these people to get some results.
That's why I jump in here when you see the police chief in Ferguson, Missouri, making a specific apology to the family of Michael Brown. What's your thoughts when you see that?
Basically, really, you can't, just like you said, shove it. It's way too late for that. You should have controlled yourself to begin with. You should have done what was right to begin with. So I'm not interested in an apology.
Big Rope.
Ditto.
Ain't no half step on Marcus J. At this time of the show, adding it at a awkward time of the show, but I'm doing this on purpose. We always profile a missing and or exploited child. Strategically, we normally do it around the top of the hour, but I saved it and I did it tonight in the middle of a segment. I'm gonna make sure that y'all still with us. And tonight's missing child is Paris Brown. She has been missing since May 6, 2014. Her date of birth is January 1st, 1998. She's missing from Landover, Maryland. She's a dark-complected black female who stands 5 foot, 111 pounds, black hair, medium length, brown eyes, no glasses, no contacts. Last seen in the 800 block of Rachel Court in Landover, Maryland, around 8:40 on May 6, 2014. And the circumstances around her disappearance are unknown. She was last seen wearing a white polo shirt and gray pants. If you have seen Paris Brown, please contact the National Center for Missing and or Exploited Children. Please contact blackandmissinginc.com on their websites or call 1-800-THE-LOST, 1-800-843-5678, or your local authorities. Ain't no half step on Marcus J. All right, K-Dub, I want you on this one first. This one is about the Walmart shooting that we talked about, that we knew about from, I guess it happened right around the same time as the Michael Brown shooting in what was it, Ferguson, Missouri. And this particular fella, we saw the surveillance video of him walking around the Walmart. He had picked up the gun off of the shelf of the Walmart that he was in. So it's not like he walked in Walmart with a freaking gun. He walked in Walmart to shop, and he picked up a gun off of the shelves of the Walmart that he was walking in. And there was a unidentified person who called 911 to say there was a man walking through Walmart, flashing gun and waving it in people's faces and all of that kind of stuff. He has since recanted his story and said that was in fact not the case. This person was not waving guns at people's faces. He just was in Walmart with the gun. We later found out that he was shopping. John Crawford III, 22 years old, was shot by the Beaver Creek police. Now, the reason why I bring this up, because we talked about this a lot throughout Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J's, shows since this happened back in August. But the reason why I'm bringing this up now is the grand jury has decided against charging the police department in the death of John Crawford III. If you look at the surveillance video that has been made public, you can see, contrary to their position, where they say that they ordered him to put the gun down and that shit they like to say that we know ain't true. If you look at the video, you can see that he's walking with the gun in his hand, and he gets shot in the back and he goes down. The same gun that he picked up off of the shelves in the store that he was shopping that was selling the said gun. Well, there's been a death of a woman in that same store. She collapsed and later died after fleeing the gunfire from that same police shooting where they murdered John Crawford III. Angela Williams, 37 years old, she died right after the Beaver Creek police shot and killed Mr. Crawford. Greene County Coroner Dr. Kevin Sherritt said Williams had an irregular heartbeat causing a cardiac arrest as a consequence of heart disease. Quote, if she had been walking around normally and just collapsed, that would be a natural death. This is what the chief coroner investigator William Harden told the Dayton Daily News. She was fleeing and running. The grand jury declined to indict the officer Sean Williams in Crawford's death, but they have since decided that this woman's death, this is Miss Angela Williams, her death has been ruled a homicide. And so, I'm going to simplify it. We said it kind of in a long way, but I'm going to say it shortly. Basically, they killed John Crawford, but a woman running from the gunfire, her death is a homicide. They don't charge anybody in his death. What's your thoughts on that, man?
I think it's a miscarriage of justice. What is there to say that you can't basically find for yourself, It's similar to the Jordan case where the guy was found guilty in attempted murder, but was found not guilty in the actual murder of the kid. I mean, I don't know what some of these people think about when they're in these grand juries, or, some of the things that's even being thought of when they're deliberating these particular cases. I think that in a bigger view of it, is that it speaks to a number of people's ideas about, as bad as I don't want to say it, about black men, maybe. You know what I'm saying? I don't know about those cops being justified to kill this individual that said it's a fake gun. They killed him. Bow, bow, bow. And then to find them guilty of a unfortunate situation of the lady dying from just being scared of the gunshots or what have you. It's just like, damn, don't you think that it should have been the other way around? I mean, and you know what? I hate to say this again. How many Mondays have we sat on Ain't No Half Steppin' where I always say, Give it some time, and we'll be talking about a similar situation a couple of months from now.
I can dig it. Ain't no hashtag
I
on
mean, it's
Marcus.
unfortunate ever since Trayvon Martin and even further back, consistently we're talking about individuals, unarmed black men mostly, unarmed men, black men being killed due to police overreaction.
Well, I mean, I guess it leads me to another discussion, though, because, here on Ain't No Hashtag with Marcus J., I have read the names of black men who were killed unarmed by police officers in the last few years. And people like to call me a race baiter, man. And I don't care that that's what they think.
Oh, you know what? And let me stop you right there, Mark. The next person that says that you're a race baiter, have them give you a definition of that.
Well, it's fair. Me trying to be the fair person that allows them the latitude. Because if you got an opinion, you got an opinion. But people like to say that I talk so much about race that people like me continue the problem because we're talking about it. Whereas me personally, I think that we need to talk about it because we will never understand the position of our opponents, particularly our fair-minded opponents, unless we discuss it. Because everybody on the other side isn't against you. You know what I'm saying? Every single person that may not agree with you does not mean that they cannot understand the plight that you go through. And so there's a lot that think you full of shit and you think they full of shit, and no matter what you say, they're going to be against you. But then there's some that are fair-minded. And those are the people that I think that we need to try to reach. Those are the people who may not say race beta, but they might be the ones that say you talk about this too much, you kind of tripping. Pull it back a little bit. You making it worse. Those are the types, those types of people. Now, I'm looking at this, right? Our president, I'm getting this one from the Huffington Post. Our president said that our mistrust of the police is corroding American society. President Barack Hussein Obama said that. And basically what he said was it makes folks who are victimized by crime and need strong policing reluctant to go to the police because they may not trust them. He said this Saturday night in an address at the Congressional Black Caucus Foundation's annual awards dinner. Quote, and the worst part of it is it scars the hearts of our children. He said this, adding that it leads some youngsters to unnecessary fear of people who do not look like them, and others to constantly feel under suspicion no matter what they do. Quote, this is not the society we want. It's not the society that our children deserve. He was addressing the August 9th shooting of 18-year-old Mike Brown carefully but firmly, saying that his death and the raw emotion that it produced had reawakened the country to the fact that a gulf of mistrust exists between residents and police in too many communities. To that, K-Dub, you say what? This is our president who you and I went to see inaugurated in 2009 in January, cold as hell and frustrated because it was cold, but still excited to be there to see the inauguration of the first black president who people seem to think don't do nothing or don't care about black folk making statements like that. What do you think about that?
I mean, the statement is on point and is accurate. There's nothing that he said in that particular statement that isn't true. I'm a fan of Barack Obama, the man himself. I'm not monolith. I just don't go with everything that he may say or whatever like that. But just like a lot of other people, I wish that there could be something done that could, change that. But unfortunately, this is a systematic type of situation. This is something that's been going on since the beginning of time, and what he said is absolutely right. He is, yeah. A lot of the stuff is a lot of the reasons why certain people view authority the way that they do is because of what they've seen, what they've experienced, what their parents or family members or friends have experienced. So of course you're going to have some type of whether it's right or wrong, you're going to have some type of opinion or idea in regards to authority. That's just the way it is. Right. And of course, I know for a fact I haven't really watched over the weekend, but I'm sure that he got a lot of backlash from what he said or what have you. But I would venture to ask those people what part of what he said was incorrect.
Yeah.
You know, man. Again, this is gonna go on probably until we in the box, man. You know, race is what it is. When you sit down and start to deny people, or try to say that race doesn't matter, you're bullshitting yourself,
right.
and it's a disservice to everybody. A lot of people, and how many people that we know that say, when I look at a person, I don't see color. Well, that's bullshit. I want you to see color. I want you to see me as a black man, and I want you to respect me for the person that I am. I'm not neutral. I'm not transparent. You can't see. I want you to see me for the black man that I am. So when people say that, I think that's a BS statement.
I got you. Too many, and this is a quote, too many young men of color feel targeted by law enforcement, guilty of walking while black or driving while black, judged by stereotypes that fuel fear and resentment and hopelessness, said Obama, who has spoken of the enduring similar treatment as a younger man. He said that significant racial disparities remain in the enforcement of law, from drug sentencing to the application of the death penalty, and the majority of Americans think the justice system treats people of different races unequally. Obama used his remarks to praise the Attorney General, Eric Holder, who we know has decided to step down as a great friend in the public service. But I'm looking at what his quote was, where he talked about men of color feeling targeted by law enforcement. Big Rube, jump in here, man. Tell me what's your thoughts when you hear the President of the United States make a statement like that?
Real. I mean, because I believe for a lot of black men in this country, that's how they feel. As far as me, I feel like that sometimes. But I can, fortunately, I can say I grew up in a different time, different neighborhood. I have both my parents, things as such. Those who don't, who don't have or didn't have what I had, I know some of those people, and I know sometimes they feel that way.
Right.
It's sad.
Right.
But I mean, it's one of those things where, like, normally I would say everybody has a choice. And how they feel and how, they act so people can act around them a certain way. But unfortunately, some choices were not made for some people, and therefore they do not have that choice.
Right.
All I can say is, keep your head up and don't perpetrate the stereotype. Because once you perpetrate the stereotype, once you become the stereotype, then, unfortunately, the good and the bad part of the stereotype, you live. And for some people, it is unfortunate.
I can dig it. Ain't no how step on Marcus J. Dub. I'm going to give you the final word on this next statement that we are going to talk about. First of all, thank you for being with us. We know you gave us a lot more time than what we expected as a part of Legacy Internet Radio, and Ain't No How Step with Marcus J. We appreciate the time that you've given us here tonight here on the show. Last thing I'm going to get to, NYPD officer secret taping reveals superiors ordered him to stop and frisk black males ages 14 to 21. I'm getting this one from news1.com. That was a headline that I just read. An NYPD officer gave a powerful assist to class action lawsuit against stop and frisk Thursday, according to the New York Daily News. Officer Pedro Serrano, who also testified in Manhattan federal court Wednesday, secretly recorded Deputy Inspector Christopher McCormick telling him to, quote, stop the right people, the right time, the right location, end quote, at a Bronx precinct. He meant black and Hispanics, Serrano testified on the stand Thursday. Serrano can be heard voicing that suspicion on tape. So what am I supposed to do? Stop every black and Hispanic? McCormick can be heard saying in response, I have no problem telling you this, male blacks. And I told you at roll call, and I have no problem to tell you this, male blacks, 14 to 21, end quote. McCormick also told Serrano mainly to focus on the borough's Mott Haven neighborhood, where robberies and grand larcenies are apparently the norm. Serrano said he recorded McCormick because he had received unsatisfactory performance reviews for failing to meet an alleged monthly quota, 20 summonses, and 5 stop and frisk. Since speaking out, Serrano says his fellow officers have ostracized him as a rat. Serrano also claimed the quotas were backed by the Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, even though the recording lends credence to the argument that stop and frisk targets minorities. City lawyer Brenda Cook got Serrano to admit that McCormick never told him to stop all blacks and Hispanics. Quote, those specific words, no, he said. Mr. Serrano, Pedro Serrano, that is, K-Dub, has come out and said that he was specifically told by his superior officer, Christopher McCormick, to stop and frisk black and Latinos 14 to 21 years of age. This speaks directly to what we've talked about here on this show and other shows here on Legacy Internet Radio about how stop and frisk not only is real, but is racial profiling that specifically speaks to the profiling of young black males and Hispanics. Now you got an officer that specifically admits that he taped his superior officer giving him this directive. When you hear this, what's your thoughts? Your last word before we let you go. What's your thoughts, man?
Are we surprised? Is anybody surprised? Anybody that here? Anybody? Show of hands. Anybody?
They can't see your hands, man. They can't see your hands,
Crickets.
And guess what? The hand ain't gonna go up. I guarantee nobody's hand is gonna go up because we've been talking about this stop and frisk even before it even became stop and frisk. You know what I'm saying? We've been talking about this. This has been something that's even, check this out. This was even being told to us as young kids from our parents and our adult figures how you need to react because of the fact that they're looking, people, or I should say people of authority are looking for you to do things. So I'm not surprised. I think that the officer, you know, my hat off to that individual because I know he's going to receive some type of backlash because of this. But it has to be put out there from somebody that's on the inside to get individuals to understand that, look, this is the type of stuff that we are being told. And I won't say all, but a lot of police departments are, you know, they're telling their officers to do these type of things, to basically stereotype a certain sect of people that live in a specific community. I would venture to ask people to do this. If you don't think that this has been going, that this is something new, that this is, you know, just what's going on, I would ask you to go and YouTube a speech by Malcolm X that talked about police brutality. And while you're watching or listening to that particular speech, close your eyes and forget that it's back in the 60s and apply it to what you hear about today. I'll even actually, even going back on the previous story, I would venture to ask individuals to look up a speech that James Baldwin and Dick Gregory did over in England, talking about, you know, the different types of things that we as black people, but young black people have to deal with, and the things that we have to kind of keep in mind when we're, you know, gallivanting through the world or what have you. A lot of the things, and, you know, we've heard situations, or what's the cliche, history repeats itself. Do your research and find out about what was being said in the 60s and see how that it plays a part today and what has gone on. So it would make you ask the question, how much have things changed? Especially in regards to the police brutality. I mean, we even listen, Marcus J. How many times we joke about it, but when we listen to Richard Pryor, he talk about getting pulled over by the cops and getting beat up. Is that anything different from what goes on today?
No, it ain't no different. And it was 1970s when he was doing it. And, you know, there's one particular skit that, you know, you and me, you know, we can have a conversation in 70s and 80s comedy skits, and you and I can have a conversation and people don't even know what the hell we talking about. But we speaking in Richard language, you know, but one in particular where, you know, and you and I have had experiences together with about the one where he talked about how he got pulled over and let's just go home, baby. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, let's just go home. Who wants to go home and have fun after that?
Yeah, exactly.
Turn around, spread your butt cheeks.
Yeah.
Who wants to have fun after that?
Yeah, that's a wrap.
But
so
it speaks, even though it's comedy, it speaks to the way that people of authority, more specifically the police department, how they view black men. And I don't know if it's I you know what, can't even put my finger on it, but I mean, come on, man. Too many things are similar. You know what I'm saying? It's just I don't know. I don't even have an answer for it, but I would ask that, you know, the Ain't No Half Steppin' crew, do your research, do some research, and listen to some of the speeches of individuals that, you know, talked about the things that are going on today, and talk about those things that happened back in the 70s, back in the 60s, and just see how similar to those things that they spoke about play a part in what we see or hear about on a day-to-day basis.
My brother, Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. K-Dub, you gave us far more than what we expected tonight, and so for that we thank you. We thank you for your time. We thank you for being a part of Legacy in that radio. Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. Thank you for being here, brother. Any final words? You know, you normally do the rants and closings in the next segment, but since we losing you now, give us your rant, give us your closing and your final words.
Yo, peace to everybody that know me back around the way. I want to say happy birthday to my cousin Antoinette, Marcus J, little sister. I want to say peace to the stars, squares. You know what I'm saying? The earths and the gods. And I'll just ask for your prayers this weekend. I am going to be venturing out of state with my high school basketball team. I'm fortunate enough to be the assistant coach at Johnson Ferry Baptist Academy with a listener, Rashawn McLeod. We both have taken on the responsibility of trying to lead these young individuals on a successful season. So this Friday starts our new quest, and I just ask that everybody continue to give us that support, man. And peace to everybody that hear me, man. You know what I'm saying? Put a smile on your face every day. It works.
Hey, yo, Rashawn McLeod listening to us right now?
Yo, what up?
Is he listening to us right now?
What time is it?
It's 9:04.
I would venture to say no.
Okay.
But
because you know I was going to talk.
I
was going to talk some trash about it. We love it, brother. We need him to call in, man. We need him to call in.
I'll work on that for you. In fact, we come back next Sunday. If we have a successful weekend, I'll make it my duty to get Brother McLeod on the line with us.
We're gonna have him. You're gonna be efforting that. That because that's the phrase that they use. Efforting. You're efforting.
Efforting.
You're efforting.
Really?
Yeah,
okay.
efforting. You're efforting that. Hey, look, I'm gonna need you because when you guys are coaching, basketball. When the National Basketball Association gets into full gear, I'm going to need to have you guys be one of you. Well, you're already part of the crew, but, Brother McLeod, we're going to need to have him, jump in from time to time. So I'm going to put you on duty. I call you out in front of the millions of listeners of Legacy in the radio. See if you can make that happen. Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. That's my brother K-Dub. We love you, brother. We're going to talk to you soon,
Appreciate
man.
y'all.
All right, man.
All right, now.
Ain't No Half Steppin' with Marcus J. It's your brother K-Dub. All right, Big Rube, I'm going to give you an opportunity to jump in here on this one. What we were just talking about just now, we were talking about the police officer in New York who basically came out. This is Officer Pedro Serrano, who came out and said that the Deputy Inspector Christopher McCormick was telling him to stop the right people, the right time, the right location. He meant blacks and Hispanics. Stop and frisk. This is the directive that police officers are given at minimum in New York City. We've talked about stop and frisk on this show. We've had members of the NYPD on this show. When you hear that they are specifically being told, go out and stop and frisk blacks and Latinos, 14 to 21. When you hear that, what's your thoughts?
Something wrong with that dude, because that's not really PC, kosher, or anything. I mean, that's straight race. That's racist, straight up. Hey, let's get all these people off the street. So if we want to get the bad people off the street, let's go straight for the Latinos, the blacks, whatever, the yo boys. I mean, that's ignorance, pure ignorance. And it's sad because basically what is done now is, you've basically, especially now coming out, who knows what's going to happen in New York City at this point. I mean, it could be a revolt really bad because a white cop is probably going to try to stop for somebody, and the dude's going to be like, nah, you doing that because your master told you. I ain't doing nothing. Next thing you know, he tries to take dude down, and like 5 people come out. That's a beat down on a cop.
Yeah. I look at it like this, man. Ain't got nothing to do. If you wearing blue, you wearing blue. It don't matter if you are red, yellow, black. I mean, you know, I hate when people do red, black, yellow. I hate when they do the color thing with races. But real talk, red meaning Indian, yellow meaning Asian, and black meaning us, or white meaning white folk. You know, it don't matter. At the end of the day, if you wearing that uniform, you blue. And if you going out with it in your mind that a minority, a black man or Latino man is a criminal based upon solely their race, their color, or how they look, I got a problem with that. You know what I mean? It's like they'll tell you that their research speaks to how these people are the primary assailants or the primary suspects of certain types of crime. They'll tell you that. And they'll tell you that they're justified in their stopping. But what they don't acknowledge in that telling you is that they're violating the civil rights of these people. Because chances are you're going to come across a Marcus J., a Big Rube, a Carlton Banks, a JR, a Dirk Diggler, a Bam Bam, a Black Seas, a Ken Barbie. Somebody, black male, right here in Legacy Internet Radio that ain't doing nothing but going about their business. But because they fit a certain type of stereotype, a certain type of look, they're going to get pulled over or stopped or accosted or harassed by somebody because they think we fit a certain profile. That's not a good look. That's the problem with stop and frisk. Because if you pull me over behind some bullshit, just because you think I look like somebody who done something crazy before, you got a problem with me. I'm that guy that wrote a letter to the furniture place. And I ain't saying their name because Lord knows I ain't saying their name. But I'm the guy that wrote the letter to the furniture place because they messed up my order. I'm the guy that wrote the letter to the news station when they had pictures of black men in a story about white men that was robbing people. You know what I'm saying? And I'll be honest with you, man, people don't understand the power of the pen. You write a letter, you call up, you get in contact with the right person, certain things can happen.
Very true, very true.
It is what it is. Ain't no half step on Marcus. Hey, look, we're going to take our final break of the night. I'm going to jump off my soapbox a little bit earlier than I normally have. So hopefully you stay with us. We got our rants and we got our closers. K-Dub, Marcus J., Big Rube and SY, and a special guest, comedian S. Lissa P is in the building. Ain't no half step on Marcus J. Be back in a few minutes.